Hi, I'm Ted Murray with Messages from the Heart, and it's a real pleasure today to introduce you to Yves Nagar. And he is such an amazing individual, and we're here to share his book, Hawaiian Rebirth. And this book is a fascinating book, not just by the stories that you tell, but by what it really means to transform your life. And what I love about Yves is he's got a vast experience of traveling all over the world, doing amazing things. But one of the things that he has done that just captures my imagination, I have no experience with it, is that he maps things. Sort of the old style where he goes off into uncharted territories and actually draws maps. Mm-hmm. And I think you've even got one that we can sort of show what you've recently done. But explain to us, Yves, how sort of the map itself and that experience that you've had over many years of mapping really translates into this book being a map that can help guide you in your uncharted journey of spiritual and evolutionary development.
Yeah, so this passion about this map making came at the very early stage in my life. I literally started probably at the age of 11 or 12. It was a blank piece of paper and a pencil and a compass. And I just started to map the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And then over the years I became more and more professional in it. I became passionate about sports called orienteering, which teaches you so much about your life. Because in order to know where you're going to go next, you need to know where you're at. And in order to know where you're at, you need to know where you're coming from. Yeah. And that's such a symbology for life itself, for this spiritual journey, this life experience we are on. And I think once we have certain experiences in our life, probably there's a moment of awakening. Wow, yeah, here I am. So to speak, but then you start to ask yourself the question, so here I am and I have this wonderful new experience, but where, that's the life's deeper questions, where do I come from and where I'm ultimately heading to? Right. And this is, as you embark on your journey, you start to really, in a way, you create your own map, and of uncharted terrain. And I think with me being the mapper I am, and everywhere I travel to all these countries, my partner Anjung, she could speak a lot about this. I'm just she looks at the trees and the flowers, and I'm the whole time looking, how would I map this? would I put this rock now here on the map or not? And I think what I did with my book Hawaiian Rebirth, I ultimately was drawing a map. And it's a raw map which will lead you as the reader, which will help you to go through this uncharted terrain. And yes, it's a map, it will give you some guidance, but not only like having a map, nowadays you like GPS, and the GPS tells you, okay, turn right or turn left. You become like you start to activate your inner GPS, and what you start ultimately to do is like you start to draw your own map of your life's journey, and ultimately what it is, you start to map what I like to say your inner landscape. And this realization of what I actually do when I'm out there and creating these maps, it's in a way a very active form of meditation. So yes, I'm mapping this terrain, what I see in nature around me, and then put it in a nice design. But what I'm doing there, I'm really becoming, when you're out in nature, it's silence, there is no distraction around you, you become increasingly aware of what's going on inside of you. You feel your physical, your body, become aware of your body, of your emotions. Sometimes you come to a part of the forest which is maybe a little bit more dark. So suddenly, wow, here is some fear. But I still have to map it. That's my job here in life. Or, oh wow, it's a beautiful opening, and just sit down and it feels blissful. And so what you really do as you map your inner landscape, you become aware of your thoughts, of your body, of your emotions, but also most of all, I would say you become deeply aware of your spirituality, of your connection. And I think what the number one thing is, what I share with people, in order to do that, you need to go in nature. I think nature, experiences in nature, breathing in nature, touching a flower, all of that gives you, in a way, the juice to keep going. And I think this juice is very much contained here in my book.
I love the fact that the mapping, you being out in nature, is part of your journey, and yet at the same time you're doing something positive for other people. Mm-hmm. You're leaving something for them that's tangible. It says, oh, here's how you can have a slightly easier time than me. You know, I may have tumbled down on rocks. I may have experienced a dark night of the soul. I may have gone through all these challenges. My job as a coach and as an author is to help you minimize those. Not that you can eliminate them. It's still your choice. But by you creating that map, you're saying, hey, let's make it easier for each of us to not get stuck in the depths, but to be able to be more joyful and more open in our journey and have more real juice and passion to share with other people. Because that's ultimately what we're here for, and that's what I love about what you're doing, is saying, here's my journey, here's what I went through. I've had these amazing experiences in an amazing place like Hawaii, where nature is just so much a part. But you're saying, it's not about me, it's about you and what you can do to really have guidance in your life that says it's your journey, it's your path. I'm not going to tell you how to live it or what your belief structure has to be, but I'm giving you a map that says, here's your choices. Here's how to make it a little bit easier. Here's how to stop yourself from diving over the cliff. And in that way, this to me sounds like it's just an amazing guidebook of tools, of things that you can use, but it's practical. It's not just philosophical, saying, oh, here's what came to me on the mountaintop, but here's how you're going to benefit from my experience in a way that helps your journey really progress in an amazing and unique way.
Yeah, and I think it's just so important in the times we are in, is really to be, to help each other, to be of service, to make this world a better place. There's a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties, we face as a collective, but also as an individual. And I think just with this book, you're gonna become someone, who doesn't necessarily need to go through, some people talk about this dark night of the soul, because once you really fall and crash, you're not able to serve, you're in another S, you're surviving, you try to survive and get back on track, but during this time, you cannot serve, you cannot make a difference. And so I believe, not everyone has to go through this experience anymore. I went through it, and yes, you're saying fantastic experiences, traveling around the world, but all these fantastic experiences also bring the challenges with them, and you don't need to go through the challenges. Ultimately, you can just really have the beauty of the journey for yourself if you apply not everything what's contained in this book, but if you just take out some few techniques, if you ask yourself some few questions and just take out what works better, what is most important is really to make it a daily practice. You need to take, because it's one thing, you get inspired and you read a book, but then what happens? There are hundreds of books around about transformation, healing, purpose. That in this way, this book is not new. But what this book really does, it really sets you on fire that you want to take action, and it gives you very clear guidance how you take this action, how you move forward, even when the obstacles and the challenges show up. And something that is very important is generally, I notice that a lot of people pray, please pray for me. Using social media. Oh, he or she has a challenge. Oh, please send prayers. Or, oh, I need a miracle now. But my experience is, yes, we can have these miracles, and we can have them on an ongoing basis. But I talked about serving. In order to receive, we really need to be able to give first. If we come from a point of neediness, we're trying to get energy from the world around us, but we need to come to a point that we can. Sometimes we need to go to. That's fine. We get some new fuel or new energy or spirit, but then we need to come to a point that we can start to share this light, this energy, this fuel with others, and start to make this ripple effect, which is so very needed in this world nowadays. And I think here is where my book Hawaiian Rebirth really makes an amazing contribution to the world we're living in, and for the difference, for what a positive difference we all can make in this world.
Well, thanks so much, Yves. I really appreciate you and your commitment to making the change in the world that we all know needs to happen. And this book is an amazing contribution to that, and you as a coach are an amazing contributor to the overall energy of everything we're trying to do in this world. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ted. Really appreciate it.